This is After the Gridiron, podcast featuring interviews with retired football players. If you're a fan of After the Gridiron, make sure you subscribe to the show to ensure that you won't miss an episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Symphonies. Symphonies is an online store that provides custom clothing and accessories. They have a number of quality products available at affordable prices. They offer custom, unique, funny, and inspirational products that you won't find anywhere else. So go to www.symphonies.ca to shop for your next purchase. And as a special offer for our listeners, enter promo code GRIDIRON to get 15% off your purchase. So there's no excuse not to check it out. Again, that's www.symphonies.ca. Symphonies. Great products, great prices. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I am your host, Lyle Green, and today we have retired CFL veteran James Yurichuk as our guest. James played 8 years in the CFL. He played with the BC Lions and the Toronto Argonauts. He was a first-round pick of the BC Lions in the 2009 CFL draft. He's fourth pick overall in that draft. He went to Bishop's University, who've produced quite a few pretty good CFL players recent history, and he's obviously one of them. And in 2011, he won the Grey Cup with the BC Lions, took out my Calgary Stampeders when I was there in that year. I won it in 2011. And yeah, it was a bad year for me to move to another team. But yeah. And he also won the Jake Godor Veterans Trophy in 2014, which is kind of like a good guy award, but basically for demonstrating kind of a good character on and off the field in regards to military background and stuff like that. And is now the owner of Wuxley. Wuxley Movement is a clothing line that produces outerwear for people. So, James, thank you for coming on and welcome to the show.
Hey, Lyle, thanks for that warm welcome. And that was beautiful. And I got to give you a little shout out. I remember coming in as a rookie, and you were always a great Canadian player that I looked up to, and just a true pro. So, I had to, for you to give me all those shout outs, I had to throw something back at you. So thanks for having me on the show today.
All right, thanks, James. Appreciate it. I'll give you the money later. All right, so to start off, can you tell our listeners something about you that most people wouldn't know about you?
Yeah, I guess I played in BC. Now I moved back in Toronto, and I guess I got two kids now. They're 3 and 5 years old, and I've been really busy since I retired in 2016. I retired into this outerwear project, and it's called Wuxley. And what's people really seem to love about it is it's all made in Canada. It's super warm gear, so we're distributing all across Canada, and we keep it animal-free throughout the product line.
Nice, very nice. Okay, and let's talk about, before we get into what you're doing now, let's talk about how you got started in football. We'll talk about football a little bit. Then when did you get started in football?
So football started for me back in grade 9, so that would have been when I was about 14 years old, and I kind of just watched my brother. My brother is 9 years older than me, and so I used to go watch him play at my high school, St. Thomas Aquinas in Brampton, and watched him at York University, and then it just seemed natural when I came to high school. It was time for me to join.
Okay, cool. And was football on your radar as something you wanted to do professionally down the road, or is it kind of just something you loved to play at the time? Yeah,
it was something I just really loved to play, and kind of really didn't get too much attention around it until my grade 12 year in high school, and I started going to the combines in Ontario, and had a few schools offering small little subsidies to come to the university within Canada. So I chose Bishops. It was a nice small school and had a great community, great atmosphere at the games. And from there, it was the same kind of thing. Like I wasn't really expecting CFL until my final year, and I was getting a couple of sniffs from some CFL teams, and it worked out at the combine. And I was lucky enough to have BC pick me. I wasn't a third overall pick like you, Lyle, but it was still nice to be in the first round there.
First round, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You make the first round, you're still doing good. Still good, good company.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, did you play other sports growing up, or is football kind of?
Yeah.
I know you're an Ontario boy. You probably played some hockey.
Yeah. I played some hockey, of course, and soccer. And in high school I was doing everything. I was doing rugby, and any way I could beat up my body, I found a way to do that. And so
yeah.
And we all know how
a lot of boys, we always tend to do
that. Yeah, we all know how football's a late developmental sport. So I think all those things kind of contributed to helping me have a football career.
Yeah, definitely playing other sports. As I've mentioned in other podcasts, that it's helpful to have that background and to have that ability to do other sports where you develop other muscles and other movements and things like that. Definitely helps with football.
Exactly.
Okay, so you mentioned going to Bishop. Let's talk more about the recruiting process for you, and you mentioned a few schools were interested in you. Can you talk more about your selection of Bishops as your college?
Yeah. So I visited a few schools in Quebec and Ontario, and I always had in my mind that I wanted to get away. As much as I love living with and I love my parents. I was at that age where I kind of wanted to get away on my own.
Some independence.
Yeah, exactly. And what really made me fall in love with the school was when I visited for their Purple and Silver dinner, which they host in February every year. And we went to the basketball game, and it just seemed like such a great atmosphere. The whole school was packed into that gym, and it was just special being there. And I wanted to be in a place where everyone cared about the sports, and even though it was the smallest university in Canada, everyone seemed to care there, and so I wanted to get involved.
Very nice. So you said they do that every year. They have the dinner every year.
Yeah, they have that every year, and they there was actually a CFL alumni that really drew me there too. Was Leroy Blue, who's coaching with the Ottawa Red Blacks at D-line now. And
yeah, he was a head coach at the time. Is that
correct? That's right. And he's got a bigger than life personality. I'm sure you probably met him a few times on the field yourself. And he's a great mentor to us. And he's just taught us not only on the field but off the field. And very happy that I made that choice and was under his guidance during that time.
Yeah, coaches definitely make a huge difference, and I've definitely been fortunate to have some great coaches coming up, and he's definitely one of those good coaches that draws a lot of kids to him, and a lot of players love playing for him, and it's evident with the amount of CFL talent you guys produce there at Bishops, because there's definitely a lot of guys that skilled guys and quality guys that played there and end up making it to the CFL. So it's definitely a credit to him and his ability to coach and recruit and to be a good mentor to
yeah, no, it was amazing, because I think before his reign there was only there might have been one or two players within the previous 5 years to get invited to a camp, and I think in the peak of it there's about 12 of his former players in CFL camps, and I think about 10 of them stuck around for that season. So that's amazing stats for a small school.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. All right, so let's talk about your path to the pros and then making it into CFL. You're a first round pick, so obviously you had some great credentials coming out of college, and and I'm guessing you went to the combine. So can you talk about the process of getting drafted by BC?
Yeah, so I guess it kind of started in the fourth year, and it was a good season for the team and for me, and getting a little buzz from the CFL, but and I was getting wind that I was going to get invited to the combine, but I knew I had some numbers to put up. I was never a big bench press guy, and they love seeing those big numbers for with the linebackers. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to change this. Yeah. So I invested myself. I went down to one of the local trainers back home. I grew up in Brampton, and so during that Christmas break, I visited one of the trainers in Burlington, Larry Justanis, at SST, yeah. And he actually had a cup of coffee as a Canadian quarterback in the league. And so he was another great mentor and coach that we had along the way. And this guy believed in me, and I believed in him, and we just trained really hard for about two months together. And I was able to get on the radar when I got to the combine. I put up some good numbers. Nothing that jumped off the chart, but it's just some solid testing to back up the play, and I think that led to Wally and the BC Lions giving me a chance.
Nice, yeah, definitely. Being drafted by a team like BC with a coach like Wally Bono, who's obviously a great coach and one of the all-time greatest coaches in the CFL and football history in general, and his ability to know talent, to see talents. Definitely shows with his team. So for him to select you and to want you on his team is definitely a great credit to you and your abilities.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah. So let's talk about draft day. I'm not sure how it was in 2009, but I know for me it wasn't on TV or anything like that. It was just a phone call from the team. How was the draft in 2009? Was it was it televised or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that was the first year it was televised, and it wasn't quite the production that we have today, but they're just getting started with the coverage at TSN, and I was all I had a little crew in the basement, and I just had my fingers crossed that I go in the first two rounds, because that was the one that was on TV, or else you're getting a phone call after, and then. And I was just sitting around, and I looked at the call display, and I saw BC Lions pop up on the phone, and I the whole place just went nuts, and I definitely one of the best memories of my life, and I was sitting on cloud nine for a few weeks after that.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I know it's definitely a highlight for sure to have your name called out, and have the phone call from a football team saying welcome to the team. It's definitely a great accomplishment and great moment that definitely you won't forget about.
Yeah, no, that was great. Then it got real. It's all fun and games until you get to training camp.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And,
then the work starts.
Yeah, exactly. And it really is a league where you got to prove yourself before any you're given any credit or any respect, and so that's what you got to do in training camp, because being picked high really didn't mean anything, and I kind of realized that in camp. It's because it's just such a competitive team there. I think that year we had the overall 4 and 5 pick, and the 5th pick overall. He was given a practice roster spot rather than being on the main traveling team, and
the main roster.
And so it didn't really mean too much that I was picked high, and I just remember it was really an old school environment in BC. We were in Abbotsford that year. We're bunked up at the Bible camp, and there's 2 of us into a room without air conditioning. And I remember it is so much stress. There's no stress like being at a training camp and being a bubble guy, just because, you just think about that draft
Fighting
day.
for your livelihood.
Yeah, you think of that draft day, and you love just making people happy. Everyone likes making people happy, and you see those 30 smiling faces, and they're all excited to watch you play on TV, and you couldn't think about going back to them and tell them that it didn't work out or something. So it's so much pressure. I'm not a guy to read the Bible too much, but I remember that when I was in Abbotsford, I definitely picked up that Bible a few times that they had in the drawer there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when you're definitely in those stressful positions, it definitely draws you to to reading some Bible. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
all right, so let's talk about one of the highlights, one of the good times of your career when you won the Grey Cup in 2011. Can you talk about that season? I know it's one of the great seasons in CFL history, with the start that you guys had and the struggles you had at the beginning of the season, and being able to turn it around and to come back and to win the Grey Cup there in BC is just an amazing season. Can you just talk about that season?
It seemed all doom and gloom at the beginning. We started off 0-1, 0-2, and I remember talking to some people like, oh, I'm not worried yet. Like, I know we have a great team. And then we're 0-3, 0-4, and coaches getting a little bit more angry. People's jobs are on the line, and we go 0-5. We're like, holy crap! And somehow we made it out. We went on a roll. I think we won the next 10 out of 11 games. And, once you get in the playoffs, that's all you need in the CFL. Anyone has a chance from there. Sorry, we had to, we actually played Edmonton that year.
You played Edmonton? Yeah, we didn't even get to
Yeah. We played Edmonton, and we had their number, and then we got to come home to BC and play Winnipeg in our dome. And I remember Grey Cup week, because I had obviously everyone wanted to come out for those at my draft day party. This was a few years later. They wanted to come out to the game, and it's Toronto to BC is not a cheap ticket, and all these people supported me, and you don't want to, like, when they arrive trying to collect. Let them down. Like, hey, everyone owes me $250 for tickets. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do to get everyone. And so, I went around buying tickets from everyone that was from out of town and didn't have, family coming in. They're happy to sell.
Anyone coming.
And then I'm like, hey, how do I sell these? Well, I have to buy these, but not only did I buy enough, I bought kind of a little bit more than so I can cover the cost. Now I can say these kind of things so I'm not playing anymore, but
exactly.
That was a little bit of hustling, going around and meeting with some of the underground scalping world, we can say, and just making sure that all my family was taken care of when they came to visit me in BC. And we had about 20 of us all together. And that was another great memory of playing football.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can imagine it's just as good as, or probably a little better than the draft party, that the Grey Cup party that you guys had after the game. Yeah,
something you could celebrate with so many people, and that's a memory that we can always have together.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so from there you went to Toronto for a few years to finish off your career. How's your time in Toronto?
Yeah, that was great. 2012 we finished, was my last year in BC, and I thought, what, it was time to come home. I was going between Toronto and BC every year, and I wasn't really establishing great roots anywhere. So I thought it'd be great to come to Toronto and really sink my feet into this community here. And that I think was a great decision as well. It actually led to to starting my jacket company. When I got back here, I brought my girlfriend who was from BC, who I met in BC, back to Toronto with me. And she was immigrating from Brazil at the time, and I had to buy her first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had to buy her first winter jacket, and so I saw there's a lot of great Canadian winter jackets, but I've always been an animal lover with dogs at home, so I wanted to get her something animal free, and so I ended up making her first winter jacket. We used military grade materials instead, so. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And
so you made her her first jacket?
I did, and that's what actually gave birth to the brand. And so it seemed to have worked out because she stayed with me in Toronto, and we got married and we have a few kids. So it must have been a warm jacket.
Must have been, yeah, exactly. Must have been pretty impressed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So and then on the field. We had a couple good runs our first couple of years with Jim Barker was the GM, and we had Coach Milanovic, and we had a couple of 12 6 seasons there, but we just couldn't wrap it up in the playoffs. But that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So. Yeah, let's moving on to your transition. You mentioned, the start of your business was making the jacket for your girlfriend at the time. After you made that jacket, was that something you thought at that moment that you thought this is definitely something I want to do after I'm done, or is it were there other options that you were kind of?
Yeah, no, it seemed like I did want to pursue it. It was fun. It is I found that there was creative side inside me that I was able to spell out through this project, and it's there's so many overlaps that I've learned from football that I carry into this project. Just like jackets are obviously seasonal for the winter, and it's just like football, which is seasonal when we played, and but the war is always won or lost before then. So, people think I'm golfing during the summertime, but I'm just gearing up for that season. And because you got to capture all the sales, and all the execution has to be done during a small window of time. And now when I started out, it was just me and my partner, and now we got a nice little team here, and it's starting to feel like a real team, kind of back in the day when you're working with a bunch of people every day towards a common goal.
Yeah. You went from one team to another team.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about your company now. It's Wuxley. First, how did you come up with the name?
Well, we used to call it Woolly actually, and because we're Woolly. Woolly outerwear.
Oh, yeah. Woolly. Okay.
And like the woolly mammoth. And a lot of our customers kept on asking, "Hey, is there wool in our product? Is there wool in your product? Is there wool in our product?" We're like, "No, there's not wool." And we're just kind of like, you know what? We're small right now. Let's just pivot, call it Wuxley. And and then we also have movement in our name. And why we have movement, it's kind of a movement towards animal-free clothing and staying warm without fur and feathers, which is a huge deal out in Toronto. But it's also, we want to promote movement during a sedentary time of the year where people like to hibernate indoors. Still super important as Canadians, get outside, get that vitamin D, feel good.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the meaning behind the name.
Okay, and talk about the being animal-free products and your desire to do that. I know it's you mentioned being a dog lover and animal lover, and that's part of the reason why you wanted to do that. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, no, it's when I was just when I moved back to Toronto, I was, like I said, I was just looking for that winter jacket is Canadian made. Obviously, try to support the local economy as much as we can, and we're making the best jackets in the world right now in Canada. So totally makes sense. But but I just couldn't believe all the fur that was out there when I went shopping, and growing up on movies like 101 Dalmatians, and my mom used to take spiders outside with a napkin. Like, these were just kind of some of the values I grew up with.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, surely there's got to be.
Yeah, my son makes me do that too.
It's bad luck, man. You can't do it. And
I know I can't do it.
Yeah. So surely there had to be some technical fabrics out there that were warmer than fur and feathers, and it really didn't even take that much research before I found that. Because what I did, I looked into what the Canadian military was using. I'm like, these guys got to stay warm, they got to stay light, because they're probably wearing these jackets for 12 hours at a time. They got to be able to move around. And so I looked into it, and they always promote goose down as the warmest stuff out there. But when I went to the Canadian military, who has to do activity out in the Arctic and all over the world, Siberia, everywhere, and they were using this technology called Primaloft. And so I reached out to Primaloft. There's only a few companies in the whole world they're able to use it. It was developed by the U.S. military, funny enough. And we were granted the license to use it within our product, and now we got the warmest gear out there.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you've done, and being able to create. You said that creative side, and to be able to produce something in such quality and that's needed as well here in Canada. It's an awesome accomplishment for you.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So I guess you have a website. So if somebody wants to get your gear, where would they go to get some Wuxley gear? We are on Wuxley.com. It's WUXLY, and we go to so many shows a year, about 50 plus consumer shows a year. It's a fantastic product. People put it on, we size them up, and people order right on the spot. And we ship worldwide. We have a 5-year warranty on the product, and I think they're starting to get a little undercurrent of people wearing the product. So you might get some recognized by the old person here or there, but you'll definitely get compliments whether you know the brand or not. Yeah, that's awesome. And are you involved with still involved with the production of it? Do you I'm guessing you're not sewing them all by yourself anymore.
No, that would be tough. No, we work with manufacturers in Toronto, Halifax, and Winnipeg right now. And that's one of the proud points of this company is that we're helping to create jobs within Canada. And me, I'm really never did anything outside Canada. Like, I did all my schooling in Canada. I never played a snap of football outside of Canada. So how could I go when I start this winter jacket company? How could I go outside Canada? It couldn't happen. So, we sell outside Canada, but in terms of all the manufacturing, it's all done here.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, it's great that you're keeping it in-house and helping the Canadian economy by having it made by Canadian manufacturers and start to finish having it here is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's good that others can enjoy it by you guys shipping worldwide. So it's always winter somewhere, right? So everybody can use it.
Exactly.
Everybody can have a chance to use it.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So, so are you planning to have any other lines of it? Are you going to stick with jackets or?
Yeah, the jackets. We're really focusing on jackets to begin with. That's our focus at this point. But other outerwear products are in the works. But that's what we're known for, is the jackets, and so we like to find what we're good at and really stick to it.
Cool. And is it available? Is there kid sizes as well, or is it just men's and women's?
We have just men's and women's at the moment, but there's going to be kids down the road as well.
Down the road. Okay, cool.
Yeah, or if I don't, my wife's going to kick my butt, because we have those two boys at home, and
you got the little ones now, so you're gonna have to sew some for them. You made one for her, so you gotta make some for them too.
Exactly.
All right, so let's just finish off now with what I call the top of the mountain moment.
Yeah.
So, looking back on your career and your journey through football, just wanted to ask you to share us a favorite story or a favorite memory or a highlight or a low light, a struggle, whatever you want us to share, or some advice for younger kids or younger players coming up. What would you like to share about your journey through football?
Well, I would say, I'm trying to think something. I think my favorite, or one of my biggest lessons I learned was my first year in BC. You probably remember this, Lyle. It was on special teams. It was about week 5, and we were getting so many penalties on special teams, and I was one of the main culprits. And Wally came into one of the meetings one week. He's like, "All right, boys, we're getting about 3 penalties a game on special teams. Like, I don't want to do this, but next person take a stupid penalty." He's like, "I'm going to have to cut them." And so, we knew that was a stern warning, because Wally really is like a mafia boss when it comes to
he doesn't play around.
We're going to get whacked. And so, I took that to heart, and it was about my 6th game in the pro, and we're doing a punt return, and I blocked this guy right out of the screen, blocked him way, way wide. And he was chasing after the punt, and I was on the punt return team, keep blocking him. And so I let him go, and then I chase him down again. And, I kind of get out of his vision, and I'm really focused on him, and he starts like relaxing a bit. And I go up, and I just clean his clocks, one of my best hits ever. And the one problem is the whistle had gone about 5 seconds before, and he was just totally relaxed. He was just walking back to his bench actually, and so I took not only did I take the 15-yard penalty, but I did like some kind of cuckoo celebration. I don't even know where it came from. I must have had too many Red Bulls before the game. And
the stinky leg. It was the stinky leg.
My buddies were watching. They called it the cuckoo dance. And so double flags. And, every veteran on the team just all up in my ear. And, I was just a dead man walking pretty much on the field that day. And this is the first quarter. And, everyone's in my ear. For some reason, I just didn't let it rattle me too much. I just kind of kept my head going, had my head up, and just kind of flushed it down the toilet for the time being. I'm like, "Okay, I'll worry about it after." And in the second quarter, right before the half, we were punting from our side, about our own 10-yard line. And so I was on the punt team. I was on the front line. I backstep, punch my guy. I get out, and I'm running. The punt returner muffs the ball, so it's right in front of me, right by our sidelines. And the natural thing to do would be jump on the ball. But some of my coaches in university, they always taught us, "Hey, when you have a chance, kick the ball. It's Canadian football. You obviously got to kick the ball." Not many people know this rule. Yeah. And so I kicked the ball forward. So we punted from our 10. The guy muffs it. I kicked it forward. One of our guys picks it up, O'Neal Wilson, and runs it in from a touchdown. Yeah. And this is going into the halftime here. And, I remember right when I kicked the ball, I remember I remember looking at our sidelines and like all the veterans were like, "Oh, what the hell are you doing?" They didn't know what was going on.
Cheering.
All American guys,
Yeah.
and then
All the American guys, yeah.
and then it turns out to be a touchdown. And so I think with on that day I almost ended my career and then saved my career on the same day. But yeah, it was just a good lesson. Don't ever get too high or too low. I got too high when I made that hit, and I did that cuckoo dance, cost our team. But I'm just glad I didn't get too low where, you know, sometimes when you make a bad mistake, you can't get too low on yourself on the field, or you won't be able to make plays later in the game. Luckily I had that an opportunity to make up for it.
Nice, very nice. Oh, great story.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, well, just want to again thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure being able to talk with you and chat with you and catch up and to see your new business growing and blossoming is awesome, and I love to see that. And just one more time for our listeners who are looking for a jacket, please visit Jason's website. If you can just give them the information on your website once again, and I'll have it in the show notes as well for people to have a look and be able to click on after.
Yeah, we're Wuxley Movement, and our website's wuxley.com. It's WUXLY.com. Thanks for having me out here, Lyle. It's good to talk some football. It's been a while for me.
Yeah, it's always good to talk football, and always nice to catch up with you, James. So thanks for coming on, and take care.
Have a great day. Take care now.
All right, you too.
Thank you for listening to After the Gridiron. If you're a fan of the show, please make sure you subscribe to the show and also leave a rating and review. By doing that, you also help spread the word about the podcast and assist others in finding the show, so more people can enjoy this great content. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with the links to those being found on the website. Your support is very much appreciated. Also, please visit the resources page on the website for links to our sponsors and affiliates. Your support helps to keep the show running, so go to www.atgridiron.com/resources to check them out. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you when we kick off our next episode.